This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Here we go. Welcome into St James's Park, home of Newcastle United. England tonight here face Bosnia and Herzegovina for the first time. First time these two teams have met. Took a coach up here today. Arrived in the city at about 3 o'clock. Enough time just to grab a beer, get something to eat. It's the first time I've ever been to Newcastle, and I have to say I am mightily impressed. Helps probably that the sun is out and it's warm. It's warm enough for shorts and a t-shirt. Not something probably that occurs too often, maybe at the beginning of June up here. But no, it looks a nice compact city, easy to get around. Loads of shops. No sign of shops being boarded up or anything like that. I took a wander down to the quayside, saw the famous Tyne Bridge.
Right, we are down to kick off here in the North East. Newcastle that way morning, we have the Three Lions here.
And then the stadium is slap bang centre in the middle of the city. It sort of stands high and proud amongst all the buildings around. And you get inside, and it really is a fantastic ground. I'm currently sat, what am I, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows behind the goal at the Gallagate end. I'm looking towards the famous sort of stand that is so high up. I can see people sort of making their way up the steps, right to the very back seats of the stand there. I've got the stand on the right-hand side with Newcastle United written high up above it. They've already laid out a load of plastic bags, basically, over the steps in a St George's Cross fashion that's going to be held up as the team come out. It's an interesting team that he's started with. Running through it, Pickford in goal, who's just warming up in front of me here. Trippier, captain, as was announced the other day. We got Konsa, Gallagher, Lewis Dunk starts, Mike Gay, Cole Palmer, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ollie Watkins is in, Eze is in, and Bowen is in. So it's not a mix and match, but it's certainly what Gareth Southgate said, that he's going to experiment with a few players and formations. So we'll see maybe how long that lasts for. He might change it at half-time, might change it around the hour mark. Half time, 0-0. Nothing to really get excited about. England playing in the purple number. Bosnia are in all white. There's not a real great deal to say about that half. Eze's had a couple of lively opportunities. Cole Palmer looked good, but no one really made a massive case in that first 45 minutes, in my opinion. Bosnia looked marginally dangerous, I think. Couple of opportunities, but a lot of their players were rolling around on the floor at times. Atmosphere-wise, though, I mean, this is why it's good to see England on the road. Early in the first half, there's a lot of England songs going. Much more than you get like the feeling at Wembley. It's just so much better when England are on the road. There's a few flags dotted around. Someone's been very brave and put a Sunderland flag over there. There's a Sheffield Wednesday one. Notts County over there. Ruislip. Birmingham. Wolves. Of course, there's plenty of Newcastle shirts around. Newcastle flags too. Jill Scott, Joe Cole make their way in front of us to their TV podium. But I know these games, they're very about not picking up injuries. This almost got that feel of either the Austria games and the Romania games from the Euros last time around. Let's see what the second half brings. Whether it'll make some changes, we'll wait and see. But there was an instant in the penalty box there. Referee has gone over to the monitor, VAR. What's he going to come back with? Here he comes. Whistle. VAR. England have got a penalty right in front of us here. Cole Palmer's got it. Flags are being held up, phones are being held up, trying to capture it. Referee blows his whistle. Here he goes. 1-0 England, Palmer. Surrounded by everyone. Lewis Dunt there, Conor Gallagher. Kieran Trippier shakes his hand. So pretty much all changed when the substitutions changed. Whole raft of subs that came on and off. And England ran out 3-0 winners. Trent Alexander-Arnold with a goal. Harry Kane with a one right at the very end. And it ends up being a good send-off from the northeast.
Well, it's 4:30 in the morning. Made it back to sunny Hertfordshire. I say sunny. The sun has come up. Birds are tweeting. A couple of hours sleep and I'll be back to work. But there we go. The first warm-up game is out the way. A 3-0 victory over Bosnia. I'd say it wasn't the best performance, especially that first half. It took the substitutions to kick things into gear, and that's kind of interesting. But that's what these games are about, really, isn't it? It's just trying out little things. Perhaps we expect a little bit too much. I don't know. On to Friday night at Iceland we go. Must also say thank you to Paul Dennis for arranging the coach. There was 15, 16 of us on there, all heading back down south. It's always good. I've mentioned it many times before, and England fans organise coaches and transport for fellow supporters. So yeah, hats off to Paul. Cheers for that. So here we are, Friday. England against Iceland at Wembley. I knocked work on the head a little bit earlier. I'm going to make my way down there. I think I've almost recovered from Newcastle on Monday. I think I've got all my sleep back by now. God, I think I got two hours by the time I actually got to do the school run. Yeah, shattered. But that, I might as well get used to it. I'm going to have a few of those over the next few weeks, back and forth to Germany. Euro 2024 starts, well, almost a week. That's a week tomorrow, isn't it? The first game, Germany against Scotland. And then on the Sunday, we open our campaign, that game against Serbia in Gelsenkirchen. Now, yesterday, it all kicked off. Kicked off with regards to the squad. Those 33 players were finally whittled down to 26. I don't think anyone really saw it coming so early, to be honest. I know that there's the deadline. Deadline is actually, I think, 11 p.m. tonight after the Iceland game. But Gareth decided to make the changes yesterday, and throughout the day, they all sort of dripped through. Now, I'll update you with all of those in a bit. But first, yeah, let's make our way to to Wembley and for the game against Iceland. But just to sort of update you, as I normally do with the podcast, the preview episode where I take a look and speak with our sort of opponents, fans of our opponents, that is pretty much all done and recorded. Just got a final couple of touches of editing to do. Probably, I reckon, well, it's going to be with you before the tournament starts. I can tell you now that I have spoken with a Serbian, I've spoken with a Danish fan and a Slovenian fan. They're all genuine fans. They are all have tickets to follow their team at the Euros. So looking forward to sharing that with you. Make sure you subscribe and you'll be the first to hear about it. But right now, I've got a train to catch.
Oh, Wembley, please welcome the teams, Iceland and England! This evening, Aaron Ramsdale, wearing 2, Kyle Walker, number 3, Kieran Trippier, wearing 4, Declan Rice, number 5, Tom Stones, wearing 6, Mark Gay, number 7, Paul Palmer, wearing 8, Bobby Maiden, your captain, Anthony Gordon.
Oh my God. Iceland 1-up. So 12 minutes in, the fella just picked the ball up, ran with it, slotted it past Ramsdale. They're not going to do it again, are they? That's killed the atmosphere.
Softly! It should be sacked! Sounds more England nil, like Iceland.
Wow. I'm not a betting man. I would imagine that was quite a, unexpected half-time result. Wow. I bet they're jumping in Reykjavik. I bet they've got a big screen up at the Blue Lagoon. Jumping all over the place. First 10 minutes, I thought we were all right. I thought first 10 minutes we had some opportunities and showed some impetus. And then 12 minutes in, turned inside out by their player. John Stones and Kyle Walker, turned inside out, and he's slotted it past Aaron Ramsdale. I imagine they're going to put it up on the big screen in a minute. But from then on, we've just shown absolutely nothing in what probably far Pickford and Bellingham would be our starting 11, our strongest 11. I know the players, much like the Newcastle game, they don't want to get injured and that sort of thing, but there's been no impetus to even test their keeper. We've been static. Yeah, this wasn't expected, this one, especially not at half time. Things are going to have to change in the second half. On about 35 minutes, a lot of people started going to the bar. Shows the level of apathy shown. Yeah, things have got to change in the second half. So 5 minutes of injury time. Probably had 3 of them so far, 2-3 of them. People are filing out. People aren't happy. This hasn't been a good performance by any stretch of the imagination, regardless of whether it's a friendly. Oh! Trent's just put it across the box. Past the post. If this wasn't before a major tournament, this would be laughable. I wonder if Bjork's watching this. It is just so quiet. Can you blame Southgate for this? I'm not sure you can, as much as many people will want to. But the players just haven't turned up. The players haven't looked bothered. The players haven't looked... The amount of players that he's changed... Full time. It's happened again. It has happened again. There can't be many of us who've got tickets for both times this has happened. People aren't happy at all. Never thought that I'd see this. Never thought that I would see us lose to Iceland once. Never thought I'd see them lose twice to Iceland. Good grief. I'm trying to remember the last time we lost a pre-tournament game. Dear me. I think the media are going to go to town tomorrow and the next day. The next week is just going to be full of very negative England stories.
That was Wembley last night. Oh dear. I'm wondering, are the warning signs there? Go back to March, defeat to Brazil, the last-minute draw with Belgium, average performance against Bosnia, and now Iceland. Is there a good spin to be put on this? Can you think of one? Expectations may have been lowered overnight. Were we getting carried away anyway? I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at that squad. 33 were originally announced on the 21st of May. That had to be reduced to 26 by the 7th of June. Now, on the 5th, football correspondent David Ornstein announced that Tottenham's James Maddison had left the camp 2 days after coming on as a 62nd minute substitute for Cole Palmer in that game against Bosnia at Newcastle. Much like the way some squads or particular players are being leaked before Gareth announced them, I'm not quite sure I like the way that this happens, that we get leaks like this. Should be used to it now. Whether there is a story in this James Maddison one, that remains to be seen. But he had previously earned 7 caps, made his debut back in 2019. That was the 7-0 home win over Montenegro. That was whilst he was a Leicester player. Then on the following day, that's when it all happened. Matt Law of the Daily Telegraph tweeted that Curtis Jones wouldn't be in the squad. Not a huge surprise, to be honest. He was one of the uncapped players of the 33. Decent season for Liverpool. I'd expect to see him return, maybe for the Nations League campaign in the autumn. At the same tweet, he also mentioned Jarell Quansah, much like his Liverpool teammate Jones. Unsurprising, but if he keeps performing, he'll get another crack soon. Later in the day, James Trafford was omitted, the Burnley keeper. Although another with no senior caps to his name, I did wonder if he would have snuck through just for the tournament experience. It is a place where the third keeper spot is never going to play anyway, but he'll have his chance at a later date. But it was then that the bombshells began to hit again. David Ornstein, Grealish and Maguire both out. Maguire with a calf injury. One of the team's most experienced players, 63 caps to his name, 7 goals, 2 World Cups, 1 Euro final, a Nations League final, and always one of Gareth's regulars. But injury has called time. I do wonder if we'll ever see Maguire in an England shirt again. I wonder. Grealish is perhaps the surprise call. Now, he came on against Bosnia for his 36th cap. Many will say he's a frustrating player, yet he's a hugely talented player, £100 million worth of player, Premier League winner, Champions League winner, but he's not a Euro 2024 player. Big call, that one from Gareth. And to be honest, these are the big calls that we've been asking him to make. He's not played it safe, has he? Then finally, Jared Branthwaite, the Everton centre-half. He made his debut against Bosnia. Well, he also didn't make it. And when you consider that Maguire had been left out earlier in the day, this one maybe became a bit of a head-scratcher. But again, maybe another for the autumn and the Nations League. But it is worth noting that both Jarell Quansah and James Trafford have decided to remain with the squad and were both on the bench for the game against Iceland. So, let's go through the final 26. Goalkeepers, 3 of them. Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. Defenders, 8 of them. Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Mark Gay, Ezri Konsa, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker. 5 midfielders, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Conor Gallagher, Kobe Mainoo, Declan Rice and Adam Wharton. And then up front, this is where you could say we have the abundance of talent, and we've got 10 of them. Jude Bellingham, Jared Bowen, Eberichi Eze, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins. There are goals there, but I fear that there are goals that will go against us. So just running through the squad, there are 4 from Crystal Palace, which I don't think anyone saw coming. 3 from Arsenal and Manchester City, 2 from Chelsea, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Newcastle and Manchester United, 1 from Everton, 1 from Real Madrid, 1 from Bayern Munich, 1 from Brighton, 1 from West Ham and 1 from Brentford. It is a squad with an average age of 25.9 and has 109 goals across it. Interesting facts for you. There are 2 players within the squad that were picked and played in Gareth's first ever game in charge. Back in 2016, it was a game at home to Malta on the 8th of October. Those 2 were Kyle Walker and John Stones. So what's my take on the squad? Well, I think I've already made it clear that the defence is my problem. Could well be our Achilles heel. We were caught flat-footed on a couple of occasions against Iceland last night. And I mentioned John Stones there. He went off with a slight knock. Hopefully nothing there, but it does bring concerns. Luke Shaw still worries me. Gareth dropped Maguire for carrying an injury, yet has taken Shaw. And he said something along the lines that he could be available later in the tournament. I do wonder how Trippier feels hearing that. And as good as Adam Wharton appears to be, let's be honest, he's only had 28 minutes of international football. Is that wise? Is that clever? Kobe Mainoo, no one had a good game against Iceland, but is this a step up too soon for him? Let's just also remember how old some of these players actually are. And we're hoping that they'll win us a tournament. It's an incredible pressure to be put under. And as for the forward line, well, it is colossal. Any other nation would be crying out for players like that. Every one of those players could get into another Euro 2024 team. But I think on the whole, it is a case of what Fat Les sang in Vindaloo. There we go. Thank you for listening. Always appreciated. Let's not get too downbeat just yet. There is a full summer of tournament football and it is just a week or so away. I'll be with you once again very soon for the preview episode. So make sure you subscribe and you won't miss it. So until then, take care of yourselves. Cheers.